We're back with one more time with Rob Tetrault. He's Portfolio Manager and Vice President at National Bank Financial. You've got some interesting thoughts on building surpluses that are building at the provincial government level, at many provincial governments, and at the federal level as well, and how that's likely to be dealt with by those governments and how it may play into Canadian GDP.
The GDP numbers, I think, are going to come out tomorrow. I think they're going to be good, 3.5, 3.6, something like that. The surplus spending has caused a ton of dollars in the coffers, taxes now in the government's coffers, both provincially and federally. They have a built-in buffer, if you will, of about $3 billion federally and about $2.5 billion provincially. And in addition to that, we're looking at anywhere from $5 to $10 billion in additional surplus. Now, remember, the annual deficit is only $28 billion federally. So if we're talking about maybe a $10 billion buffer that we can do there, the question is always, what have governments typically done? Do they put this to the bottom line, or do they spend it? So obviously, if they put it to the bottom line, the debt gets reduced. But in my view, we've done some research historically, and there's actually a reverse correlation as to whether or not they actually put it in a growth market, whether or not they actually put the dollars towards the deficit or whether they spend it. We would expect them to likely spend it on infrastructure and or payments to the provinces.
And do you expect that to further drive elevated GDP numbers? 3.5% is a pretty strong number, and that is the consensus call for tomorrow's GDP release.
These are very strong GDP numbers, and if you are adding, it's the ball that keeps rolling. If you're adding another $5 to $10 billion, yes, you're going to create spending and GDP numbers increase.
Rob Tetrault, thanks a lot for being here. Please come back soon.
My pleasure, Paul.
That's Rob Tetrault of National Bank Financial.